In the late 2nd century in China, the Han Dynasty, which had ruled over a vast territory for over 400 years, was gradually losing its power and declining. However, in that chaotic time, there was a figure who stood out with exceptional talent and rose to prominence, and that was none other than Cao Cao. Cao Cao led rebellions throughout the country during the turmoil, defeating many rival warlords one after another, and eventually overthrew the Han Dynasty, establishing the new Wei Dynasty and opening the first act of the famous Three Kingdoms period. He is the most controversial figure in Chinese history and the representative protagonist of the Three Kingdoms. However, there is a mystery about Cao Cao that remains unsolved to this day, not in his achievements, but in his tomb. The mystery of the tomb began with a novel, where in Na Guanyang's book The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Cao Cao's will was recorded. Cao Cao said, "Give the command to build 72 tombs outside the city, all looking alike, so that future generations will not know which one is mine. Otherwise, people may dig up my tomb." After his death, it was said that when the 4 gates of the city opened wide, chariots carrying 72 caskets went out in all directions. After Cao Cao's will became known, people's interest in the tomb grew, but this content was actually a fiction created by Na Guanyang. By the way, in the historical book Records of Three Kingdoms by Xiao Jinju, there were 4 different records compared to the previous one, which implies that Cao Cao was quite a frugal person. Ironically, because he did not decorate his tomb with things like precious stones, it was even more difficult for future generations to find his tomb. In 2009, a remarkable discovery was made in Hunan Province, China, which was the long-lost tomb of Cao Cao, a prominent figure in Chinese history. It was finally announced that the tomb of Cao Cao had been discovered in China, revealing his appearance to the world for the first time in 1800 years since his death. Inside the tomb, 3 remains were found, 1 male and 2 female. The cultural heritage researchers claimed that the 2 women were his wives, Lady Lu and Lady Bian. By analyzing the tomb structure, relics, and historical records, the researchers ultimately concluded that the tomb's owner was likely to be Cao Cao. The researchers have 3 pieces of evidence to support their claim that the excavated tomb is that of Cao Cao. 1. Age and physical condition match. Firstly, the age of the remains found in the tomb, which matched the height of 150 to 160 centimeters, was consistent with the age of 60s, the age of the death of the historical figure, Cao Cao. 2. The size and the will of the tomb match. The size of the tomb, which was 60 m in length, and the shape and structure of the tomb were similar to those of the queen's grave at the time, and there was no mound of earth, as recorded. In addition, the items found in the tomb were generally modest, matching his frugal personality. 3. Discovery of the stone monument inscribed with King of Weimu. The third and most compelling evidence was the discovery of a stone monument inscribed with Weimu King. According to records, Cao Cao was awarded the title of King of Wei, and after his death, he was awarded the posthumous title of King of Mu. The stone monument found in the tomb was clearly inscribed with King of Weimu, leading experts at the time to believe it was his tomb. However, historians began to raise several doubts after analyzing the unearthed items, which cooled the initial excitement. 1. There are no remains of Cao Cao's wife, Lady Bian. Lady Bian, the wife of warlord Cao Cao, was originally buried at the age of 70 in his tomb. However, when the remains of 2 women were discovered at the suspected site of her tomb, they were estimated to be in their 40s and 20s, which contradicts historical records. Additionally, there is no record of any other women being buried in Cao Cao's tomb along with Lady Bian. 2. The size of the tomb was too small for a queen. Those who claim that the tomb in Hunan Province belongs to Cao Cao assert that it exhibits characteristics of a high-ranking tomb from the late Han Dynasty. However, although the tomb itself is of a high-ranking size, it is far from the level of a queen's tomb, which is the highest rank. Furthermore, it is inexplicable that the tomb of the Emperor Cao Cao would be made for a lower-ranking person. 3. Was the stele at the tomb forged? A stele inscribed with the name King of Weimu was excavated from the tomb, and this discovery led some to believe that it was indeed the tomb of Cao Cao. However, others argue that the stele was forged, and that it is impossible for a stele with the name King of Weimu to be found there, as Cao Cao held the title of King of Wei during his lifetime and was posthumously granted the title of King of Mu, which was succeeded by his son Cao Pai. At that time, it was a principle to refer to the deceased kings by their posthumous names, and calling the late Cao Cao as Wuwan, King of Wei, could lead to confusion with other kings of the Wei dynasty in later generations, so he should not be referred to as Wang, king of Wei, more than necessary. Therefore, some scholars argue that the stone monument found in the tomb of Hunan is a forgery. Despite the controversy surrounding the tomb, the Chinese government officially recognized it as Cao Cao's tomb in 2010. Furthermore, in 2018, the Cultural Heritage Research Institute in Hunan Province analyzed the excavated remains from the tomb and finally concluded that they belonged to the wives and concubines of Cao Cao. Once, Cao Cao, who dreamed of unifying the world and seized actual power on the Chinese mainland. The Chinese government acknowledged the tomb found in Hunan as Cao Cao's, but many people still had doubts about it. One news report suggested that the reason for China's acknowledgement was because the tomb could bring in significant economic benefits, with an estimated 2 million visitors and 65 billion won in annual revenue if it was made into a tourist attraction. What is your opinion on whether the tomb in question truly belongs to Cao Cao or if Cao Cao is resting elsewhere?